it every week, and you'll see them, putting tweets on before games, particularly ones who played over here maybe, but even people like Ryan Hoffman, who only played one season, seems to follow it quite strongly, and you do get a lot of that. You know,
yes, you do.
You get a bit of it both ways, and certainly the coaches seem to know plenty because they're taking players every year. But I actually thought Jack Owens had forgotten that he was doing the kickoffs. But other than that, I thought he had his best game for St Helens.
He was better under the high ball, and he didn't.
And he made no mistakes that I can recall in returning the ball either. And he's not going to get in and play a link playing role as a fullback like you hope to in the modern game. But I think he was better than he was against Salford, I'd say that much.
Yeah, he looked a liability against Salford. It was less, I think the kicking, the two kickoffs on the full exacerbated his performance in terms of people saying he wasn't very good, but I actually thought his general play was okay.
John Dyson, Fair Fan, said, "What can you say about the Roosters? They're faster and stronger and show more skill and made Saints look like a mid-table championship side. To go even close to the Australian sides, we'll need to be 10% better in all areas. Not looking forward to the rest of the weekend." Ooh, dooming omens there.
Yes.
Matt Eltringham, who's also a Saints fan, who builds up bitter resentment to every defeat they have from a distance.
Yes.
Poor performance from the Saints and overall forward pass-a-thon. There seem to be only a few players actually having a go. Can't commend Swift enough for the cover defence chasing. No one else seemed to be having a go. Other than that, can't say it was bad defending. There wasn't any at all. A double to Peru was a positive, with the first on the board due to Fergie Karma. The Tupu breakaway intercept try was mint, but don't tell anyone I said that.
Yeah, that's true. It was. We also then heard from Darren Garner, who got in touch. He said he was shocked at the lack of atmosphere in the ground. These new stadiums have a habit of sapping the crack that seemed to ooze from the old grounds.
We've spoken about this atmosphere thing before about St Helens, haven't we? Yeah. And I find it surprising. I mean, the atmosphere was great last year until there was 3 or 4 scores down. I think the atmosphere was decent until the inevitable started to happen.
Yeah.
And it probably dissipated quicker than last year, but because there was fewer people there.
You could hear the popular terrace, the popular stand on the opposite side of us, singing Annie's song and when the Saints go marching and stuff. And I wasn't unimpressed. It
wasn't as bad as the atmosphere at that game against Bradford that we went to watch.
Well, that was an end of season.
But it was far more, wasn't it? It was far different to the atmosphere I'm used to there from. We were mostly distracted from any semblance of atmosphere by the drunk bunch behind us and the Stamford fan.
Everyone was pissed up, weren't they?
Who was going a bit too far in his support of the
Roosters.
There was quite a few people wearing Roosters jerseys, and there were a few genuine Roosters fans, it seemed. This guy totally wasn't. He was telling us how he couldn't wait to put his Brisbane shirt on the next day and go and cheer against Wigan and so on and so on. And I just thought, you're taking it a bit far, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm a Wigan fan. I wanted Saints to win. You were wearing a Roosters shirt, but you wanted Saints to win.
Of course I wanted Saints to win. It was nice to see Down Under Leisure so well represented as an entity, really, on the night. But it was a bit much, wasn't it? Like, wear the shirt and contribute to the atmosphere, because that's what you should be doing.
That detracted a little bit from maybe what was going on around the rest of the ground for us, because we had that buzz right behind us.
Yeah, that's it.
But sorry, go on.
Yes. So, did this have an effect on how Saints played? Nope, because without Roby, Saints are really poor. First 10 minutes, my hopes were high that Saints may go toe-to-toe with the Convicts, but this time it was... But as time went on, Saints were simply schooled in every aspect of the game. Saints forwards seemed to gas very quickly with hands on hips after 15 minutes. We have a saying in Ireland which sums up the team without Roby: you can't polish a turd. It's not strictly... A turn of phrase that is solely the Irish.
I'd never heard of it before. It must be just from Ireland.
You can't polish a turd. I think it means the third thing.
No, yeah.
What?
I've heard of the phrase.
Right. No, but I'm about to make my own joke.
Oh, sorry.
I think in Ireland it means you can't polish the third thing. Whatever the third one of something is. You can't polish a turd.
So because they were the third team,
fucking this entire...
We're not on tune, are we?
No.
You'd think after all this time together this weekend.
I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe we've just been funny enough. Maybe we should have recorded it on Saturday in Wicked Central. Let's move swiftly on. Andy Barker got in touch. He said that the Roosters... Well, Pete, you're not paying for it, people. Just let us off. The Roosters were class above Saints at subdued Langtree Park. Walmsley was singled out for big hits by... Can we stop the Convicts? And Saints really missed him. The cartoon dog deserves praise because he never gives up. Tyler Cass gas fan, so it was rubbish. My mum and dad only had me 30 seconds of internet access. Well, more fool you for wasting it on us, Tyler. And Brian Davies, Saints were a joke, didn't run hard enough, straight enough or fast enough. We should ban them from the comp for bringing the game into disrepute for the last 2 years.
Well, with the form that they're showing early doors, they might be ruling themselves out.
Normally I'd take this as an opportunity to point out how shite Wakefield are, but they're on the back of a fucking win this week, so I can't even do that. Okay, so on to...
Now I've not got much to say because of what we're going to talk about next.
Okay, so on to a slightly hazy Saturday night in the drizzle at the DW then, Mark. It was just a case of of deja vu, really, wasn't it? There was, in the first sort of 20 minutes or so, Wigan were making a fist of it, and there was a game on, and at 12-6 to Wigan,
exactly the same.
At 12-6, yeah, fair enough. At 12-6 to the Broncos, you thought that Wigan could get back into it, but they got to 18-6, and then they sort of got a bit of a combo double punch in before half time, and it was just over by them. Wasn't it? Heads went down.
It was those two shit defending, let them walk through and score simple tries that we gave up in the last 10 minutes of the first half that really changed the momentum of things. Because the first two tries in the first half, there was more than an element of doubt over them both.
Yeah.
You know, I've no problem with them being called tries.
Yeah.
Certainly, I'm not saying they were no tries, but if they'd have gone up as no tries, there would have been question marks over them. I mean, and Wigan scored a really good try. Liam Farrell really came out of the game well for me.
Farrell and Bateman worked the socks off like you would expect they always do.
Yeah.
They did look good. There was a turning point for me in the first half. I don't know if you saw the play or if it sticks out in your mind. I might be way off base.
Ben Flower fell on McIlroy's ankle.
That happened. But that being an actual, like...
Go on.
Yeah, of course, and we wish Michael McIlroy well. But no, there was... Wigan had the ball in the right-hand corner, and they were maybe 5-6 metres away from scoring. Sam Powell was on at this point, and the ball he got out was massively overplayed and sprayed right over the back and ended up going about 10 metres back so that Tautai had to field it, and he basically had to Tautai chose to run laterally kind of along what then was about the 15 or 20 metre line. I think if that ball had,
in our own half,
you were virtually on Brisbane's line.
There was also that play where
that kind of let the momentum go a little bit at that point. I'm just wondering if they'd managed to do something with that play that would have tied it up.
There was a play where Dan Sargent kicked it pretty heavily as well, on the third tackle as well, and you just thought, why did we not try and get some more sort of play going on? But then when Brisbane started getting good, they
got very, very good.
Got good, didn't they? Milford was outstanding, and Nicarima showed some really good flashes, but that Greg Eden try, I mean, where were we for that? That's
always
3 tries in a row. We were fucking nowhere for them, and it was embarrassing to see some of the defence. The one that really got me the most wound up, and I'm assuming this is the one that got Cass throwing hats.
He's throwing hats.
Was the Jared Wallace try?
Yeah.
Right under the sticks, massive hole.
Yeah.
Just.
Look, we've always said that Greg Eden's a quality fullback, so you can't legislate for his quality and the way he's going to deliver things, but other elements of what was going on, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, well, why for that one at the scrum base in your own 20? Yeah. You're not manning up when Milford's moving around, and you're not thinking, looking at where the setup might become here. No, we didn't. It's just frustrating to see such poor lapses in defensive judgment from a team that's defended really well so far this year. To be honest, though, it wouldn't have upset me that much if we hadn't lost players as well.
Yeah, that's it. The bigger sting now is that you're going to go into the season without your first choice hooker.
Because it's one of them.
He's a 70-minute hooker, basically.
I'm sure Saints fans can feel the same way as well after, there's an element of it where you can sort of switch it back off and think, well, if we'd have won it would have been great. We haven't lost anything by losing. But
no. But you have, in fact, that's it.
I would point out.
But congratulations to Brisbane, because they did play very well.
Yeah, and a crowd of over 19,000 were there, and that was pretty decent. The atmosphere wasn't phenomenal, but that was more by the fact that,
it was alright to start with. I think the atmospheres were always alright to start with.
It was just like the Saints game. It went when there was a couple of easy scores against us that we should have been able to prevent. I mean, there were different sorts of easy scores. Saints were breakdowns further up the field, maybe, than Wigan's were. But just poor from both the sides.
You'll be punished any time you make a mistake. That's the key thing to take from this entire weekend, is that mistakes get punished.
And when they get a bounce of the ball, they take advantage of it. Yeah. We weren't necessarily, as a league, as a competition, as a group of teams, but Wigan, as much as anyone, able to take advantage of when we got opportunities.
Yeah.
I did think Greg Eden had a good all-round performance.
Yes.
There was a really good take in his own in goal. He had a really good run before the second try to the winger Oates on the other side.
Yeah.
He'd made a break up the field. Tierney shut it down. But yeah, he had probably a better game than he's been having, but he still lacks in so much.
I think the wings and fullbacks were an issue for Wigan as well. Charnley's obviously not. No, hang on. Gildart came in for Charnley.
Yeah.
So he's a young lad who
not really
more of a centre.
Well, is a centre.
And Charnley's not been playing great before that. So even if he hadn't pulled up injured, then that's not great. And then on the other wing, Manfredi, not as prolific in terms of finishing and getting the electric runs away. And then Tierney, again, just not quite of the required standard. And I think that left you weak as well.
Well, Manfredi didn't get a chance to show his actual ability close to the line because the ball never really got to him because of great defending.
Yeah.
That was another feature of the weekend, but a feature that I noticed more in this game than I did in the first game, that the defensive line, their ability to read and move into space and then close when one man makes contact, the others close in very quickly, and then they're back out lined up a lot quicker than we are, it feels like.
And that's something that we see on Sunday night.
And Brisbane had a few overlaps that they could have taken more advantage of if Wigan hadn't have scrambled well enough, or just one player did a really good tackle or something like that. Fair mention for Tony Clubb. He got Clubber in, didn't he?
Clubber in time. I was saying to you on the way down to Leeds on Sunday morning, Tony Clubb's not really a player I've paid a tremendous amount of attention to at certain times, but actually when I've sat and watched him, and paid close attention to him like I did, well, let's be honest, Sunday morning. It's Clubber in time. He's a unit, isn't he? And fair play. He was probably your best player, I thought.
I mean, early on...
You were saying you feel like he's your best prop.
I think he's risen to that position at the moment, Mossop's not been playing, Crosby's been out injured, and Flower's been doing a decent job, but I think Clubb has more impact for us than any of the other prop forwards we've got in our current squad. I mean, we sat them down a few times and we weren't not physical. It was just they defended the width of the pitch and the spaces and the spacing so much better than we did. Probably partly because they ran attacking plays with so much more precision than we were able.
They were incisive, weren't they, in attack?
But they scored the same amount of tries. The same amount of tries exact for each team were scored in this game. The difference from the scoreline at Saints was goal kicking. The Broncos were 100% from the touchline. A couple of them as well. So that made it look like, well, it was a bigger scoreline as a result. But we were saying these games mirrored each other.
There's a reason Conan their leading ever point scorer scored more points for that club than Darren Lockyer did.
Corey Parker.
Yes. Did I say Corey Norman?
I don't know.
Corey Parker. Corey Parker.
Yeah,
not Corey Norman. He's a good player.
He's all right at nines.
Fair enough. So, and again, we had plenty of people getting in touch with us. Wally Frogmore or Matt Altringham to his family got in touch. What looked like it would have been a close game blew out when the Warriors' defence ran out of puff. Too many Brisbane players in motion bamboozled the Wigan defence. Not sure what could be taken from this game other than injuries. Cutthroat Jake got in touch. Well, that was disappointing. Wigan spent too much of their time running sideways and dropping the ball. Yet again, we saw that if someone manages to control Wigan's structured attack, they are unable to do anything. They don't appear to have the ability to stick to a plan B.
Well, without your different
without your main
players,
attacking threat on the field,
you are going to struggle. And the on the edges, they close down Sargent, but particularly Gelling, really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. Tyler Casfan snuck down onto the internet to say Wigan gave their all, but Brisbane were strong on their own line and clinical in attack. Sam K. Rowlett, Brisbane, a joy to watch. Hope Wayne Bennett gets England playing like that. Pies injuries denied any sort of contest. Chris McKeown got in touch to say that it's fair to say that we were a bit shit tonight. It was good to meet the Super League pod guys, though. Good beards. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Don't look at my... Look, right, have you got something to say?
What?
Because I said good beards and you peered at mine like that.
Well, just, all that effort you put into yours, you're working for the compliments you are.
and
you're getting them, so, Congratulations to you, pretty little
pretty little fucker. I know. I don't think I've ever been called that before. Mark Butler got in touch. He said, King of the Bears, that's right. In fairness, it's no reflection on Wigan. It's where we are in the game over here, and it's hard to see how we bridge the gap. Tim G Radio said, and that, ladies and gents, is why Wayne Bennett is England coach, pure class. Diane LBW got in touch and said, well, in spite of me cheering on the Pies,
we had a bit of an exchange there, me and Diane, this weekend.
A bit of a cultural exchange.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.